Hi, Rizwan. Good evening.
Um,
Yesterday I forgot to ask you at the end of the class about the assignment that you have done. I forgot to ask you about that one. Were you able to complete that one?
yes, I think I completed that one. I asked the doubt which
Okay, okay.
Harish.
Okay. Hello, Nikhil.
Hello, ma'am.
We will wait for 3 more minutes and then we can start the session. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So in yesterday's session, we have seen the variables, like what are all the different types of variables we have. And also we have seen like how we can use the scope for error handling. I think these are the two topics that we have covered yesterday, right? Scope for TryCatch and also variables, different types of variables, and also expressions also we have seen, like how we can add the expressions, like concat and begins with the starts with, ends with. So this type of expressions also we have seen yesterday. So in today's session, we are going to cover a few more topics which are related to first thing data operations, and then types of flows like parent and child flow, how we will be using them, and then how to export and import the flows. So these are the topics that we are going to check today. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. So for this one, I'll just use instant flow so we don't have to do anything in the database. So first of all, what are the data operations? Okay, so whatever the data we are fetching from the dataverse, and if you want to do some actions on it, for example, to format the data or to filter the data. For example, I have got here, I'm fetching courses records, and in them, I just want to filter the records, course records, and want to fetch few only, want to use few only. At that time, I can use this, and also while parsing it. So the parsing is nothing but, for example, from some API, I'm getting the data, and that JSON data, I'm going to parse it so that I can use the values. So I'll be showing that as well. So how that will looks like, and also select operation we have. Let me just open one by one so that you'll get an idea what I'm talking about. So yesterday we have seen scope control, right? So the same way we have a data operation. In this, we have all these actions. Okay, compose, create CSV table, create HTML, filter array, join, parse JSON, and select. Okay, so I'll explain each of them why we use them in the paradigm flow. The first thing is compose. So whenever you want to use, whenever, sorry. Okay. So first one is compose. So whenever you want to format some data or some expression and you want to use that in later point of the flow, then you can use this compose. Okay. So we already seen like variable yesterday. We have just initialize it and set. And while setting also same thing, like you have seen the functions, right? Let me show you the variable also, because these seems to be both are similar only. Even okay, first we have to complete this one. This compose and variable seems to be similar. We can use any of them based on our requirement. Mostly, it's always good to use variable only until unless there is a like, I mean, specific requirement where you can't achieve with the variable, but I can only achieve with the compose. Okay, for example, here I'm using some test variable where I'm saying string, and here while initializing, I have an option to select the dynamic content or use the expression and do something. Nothing but I can format the data here also, right? Using this like concat or ends with sort, reverse, whatever the functions I have, I can use them to format the data here as well. For example, I use this format data and time here. Okay, so whatever the format data and time, so that I'll provide here later. So this I can do from here in variable as well as from here. So both are same, nothing much difference. The only difference is here, uh, in initialize variable, we'll have two steps. One is initialize variable and then set variable. If you have the detail, I mean, value, initial value here itself, you can provide. Otherwise, it will always be two actions, like two steps we have to provide for the variable. But for the compose, we can just have one single step where you can just format the data here itself. Okay, that is the only difference I could see. But if you have a like a different specific requirement, then maybe based on that, we can just use them accordingly. Okay, so this is just to use the, for example, here I'm having this one inputs, format, date and type, and at later point of time, somewhere here, I can use this one. So it's always for all the data operations, mostly, so we will be seeing the output. Oh, sorry. Maybe what I'll say, variable, and I'll set the compose output in this variable. Okay, here you can see compose outputs. So whatever the formatting is done in this step, that output will be coming in the outputs. So wherever is required, I can use this output of this compose step. So this is simple, straightforward. Okay, and then The next one is, first I'll explain the easy one so that we can later go on to the next ones. So after the compose, we can go with the select. So select is nothing but whenever we are having multiple values or multiple rows that we are fetching from the data was, and from them I just want to select a few only, not all the details I want. For example, here in this what I am fetching here attribute, state code, course ID, name created on. So among them, I just want name only. I don't want any of them other values. Then what I can do here, from, so you have to provide the value from which data you are going to select the value, pick the value. So that what I can do, list of rows and value I'll provide. And map here, key value type I should provide. So key can be anything, I'm just taking as a name. And value is like which value you want to fetch from the whatever the selected records we have. Okay. Okay. Okay, for example, here it is a name. Okay, this way, like if you have I mean, for example, here it is straightforward. I know, like here we are providing the fetch XML, and in the fetch XML, we are having the conditions. Also, we have an option to just choose our attribute. So why we need the select operation here, right? So this might be the straightforward one, but in some cases, it may not be, like we might not have an option to choose the specific attributes. So maybe all the attributes we might be getting from the list rows. Then at that time, what we can do, we can just use it, and whatever you want to just get it, you can just get using this select. So whatever the key, I mean, columns you want to get, you can use this key and value and get all of them. Okay, this is useful for them. We can run all of them once. Okay, I'm not showing that now, but maybe once we are done with all the operations, I can show you the output. Okay, this is the use of select. And then next one is um next one is parses and select. Join, anything we can use. I can go with join first. So here join is nothing but you have an object or array which is having multiple values, and you want to join them with some specific operator. For example, I'm having email IDs. Yesterday we have seen, right, multiple email IDs I'm getting, and all of them I want to join with a string. For example, test@gmail.com, comma, test1@gmail.com, comma, test@gmail.com. So that way, if I want to just join my all the values, the email values, that then I can just use this one. Okay. Um, So what I'll use, so here what I'm doing, I'm getting the names of the courses. So here I'm joining the names. So here what I'll do, whatever the output of the select, I'm selecting this one. So from this I want to join with the whatever the symbol you want to use in between those two. So I'm just using semicolon here. Okay, now whatever the course names I have, that will be coming in a single line with semicolon separated. Okay, so this is a join. And then next, next is filter array, I'll take. So the name itself is saying. So if you want to just filter some values from the results, then we can use it. So anyway, here I'm using the database connector list row. So you might get a doubt saying like here we already have a condition attribute. So why we are using filter again here? Alright. So you might get it, but as I'm already mentioning, this might not be a good example for this one, but in other scenarios you will get an requirement where you have to filter the array, so that you want to filter based on some field values. For example, here I'm providing the from as a value list of items only, and then from there what records I want to fetch. For example, name should be this, and then only provide the values for me that way. Okay, so here what I will do, um, so we only have this one, so I don't have any other options. I'm just using the name only. So name is equals to course, right? MSC. Then only return the value. So I'm filtering my array. Array is nothing but list rows here, and whatever the courses records I'm getting, I'm filtering based on the name here. And where name is equals to MSC, then provide me all the records with the name equals to MSC. Okay, so this is the way we will do it. So I'm just telling you like how to use it. So based on the requirement, the procedure is same, just the values might change. That's all. Okay, the next one we can use is data information, then parse JSON. So parse JSON is nothing but as already mentioned. So sometimes we may get the data from the API. So there JSON data will be like object type it will be having, right? It will have the key and the value. And if the data is that way, each value we will not be able to grab it properly, grab nothing, but we will not be able to use it the individual values which are present in that JSON file. So for that we can just parse it. Okay, so here first we have to provide the schema. So for this one at least we should run this once so that I'll get the sample. So I can show you this later, but how we will do this I'll show you here. I'm removing this variable and initialize variable, and here I'm using object, and here I'm saying Jyoti, and both MSC. What else we have? Gmail.com. Okay, so for now, let's suppose say this is my object. And if I want to use the individual values, for example, I want to maybe while sending an email or something like that, at that time I want to use the email. Or in the body email body, I might want to use the name or the course. At that time, if I'm having the my details in this format, I'll not be able to fetch the values individually. So at that time, my parse JSON will what it will do, it will parse the JSON file into it will parse the JSON file and I can get the individual values. Okay, for now, just remove this one. Once I run this one, I'll get the sample JSON and we should provide the sample here. I'll show you how we can do that. So for now, I'm just removing this one. And next, what we have is select instant pause, join instant filter array, done. Create CSV table and create HTML table. Let me show you this one. So create HTML table and create CSV table. So here it is nothing but, for example, in some scenarios, you want to create a table with some details, and you have to send the details across your team members, team DL or something like that. You have to send an email with these details. So if it is from the Paratomate flow, obviously if this option is not available, is it possible to even send the details through table? It's not possible, right? So in that scenario, like whenever, for example, let's suppose say I have a recurrence flow where every day evening it will check whether it is any flow got failed more than 10 times. It will check for it and will add the each flow in a table format, and that list will be sent across the team DLL through email. Okay, in that scenario, I can use this create HTML table. So all I have to provide here is what will be the source for the data. Let me just, okay, and what are all the columns that I want to send in this table. So here I'm selecting the list rows output only, and then show advanced columns instead of automatic. What I'll do, if I say automatic, I don't know how it will provide the column names in the table. So what I'll do, I'll just use the custom and I'll provide the header and value for it. So for example, um name and name. Okay, and then created on whatever the details you want to provide in the table, that you have provided, and the table will get created. Okay, let me created on what else we have. Status reason maybe. I'll take this one. Okay, let's see like how this will create a table. Okay, this is for the create HTML table. And yeah, first we will try this one, and then we can there are two other things, right, that we can check later. So in the compose, let me use format. um, we can try this one. Is expecting. I think it's in format. This is what I have here. All the active ones. Save it. And test it. Automatically with the recent based report. Okay, first let's see the compose output. Here you can see format data. I'm just getting the today's date in this format, and wherever I need it, I can just use the output of this compose action. Okay, so this is the first. And the second one is select. So here what we have discussed, whatever the particular the column related data I want to fetch, that only I'll get. So here what I have selected, I think course MSc I have selected, right? What I didn't remember. Sorry. Select value, name. Okay, all the details will come actually. Here I didn't even add any like the specific thing. So the name, we are having names in every course record, so everything will be coming up here. So that you can see here. So all in the outputs you can see all the names. So only one column I'm fetching from all the records, that is name. Okay, all are coming. And then join. What I'm doing, whatever the output that I have got in this select action, that I'm going to use here to join with semicolon. And you can see this. In a single line, it joined with a semicolon, all the values. Okay. And then filter array. What we are filtering, name, course name equals to MSc we have filtered, right? Sorry. Let me see whether we have any course with the name MSc. We don't have any MSc. So that is the reason it didn't provide any value. Okay, we can run that again and we can see it. Okay, then create HTML table and you can see name created on and status. All the values are coming up here. And this output you can use. I'll show you how the outputs look like. It's just in Compose how we have seen the output of this create HTML table. So the same way you'll get I mean, output of the Compose, same way you'll get for this one as well, and you can just use it anywhere you want. For example, you'll be sending this create HTML table output through email, then you just have to provide that output in the email body, and this table will come up there. And you can see how it is looks like right now. This way only it will come in the email body also. Later, if you want to do some enhancements, we can do that. But this is the basic table that will get created with this create HTML table. Okay, this is it. And then what we have discussed for the parse JSON, I have created this one. So sample JSON we want. Um, um, I'm just selecting this one and edit. So the parse JSON content will be from the variable that I have created for this one. And we have to provide the scheme of the JSON, like how the values will be present, which with what data type and all, and what will be the key and how the value, like data type and for that value. So what I have done, whatever the JSON, like the object that I have created in the test variable, that I have ran once so that I'll get the sample file so that I can provide here, and then it will create a payload for me. Okay, you can see type object properties name type string course type string email type string. So this is the schema for this JSON. Okay, this way we can generate from the sample. And okay, then now you can see if I want to use the particular value name or course or email, then I can use it. For example, here I'll just try to set in a variable. Set variable. Okay, here you can see in the parse JSON, whatever the individual column value, sorry, individual key values we have, that we can see here, name, course, email. I can directly select from here. But when it is in a object format in the test variable, then I might not be able to get individual value, right? So this parse JSON is useful that way. So if it is a complex scenario also, complex JSON file also, then if you want to just use the individual values present in the JSON file, then we can just use this parse JSON and get the individual values here. Okay. So that is the use of this parse JSON. and then create CSV table, which is the last one in the state operations. We don't have to provide any other values. I'm just saying for this columns automatic only. Let's see how it will generate the CSV table. Let's save it. Let's see if it still has the MSC. Yes. Um, hey, filter array. You can see, so in filter array, what we have filtered where course is equals to course name equals to MSc. So the output I have is this only. So whatever the MSc record I have, that only I got in the filter array output. So I can use this anywhere. And then create HTML, we've already seen it, and parse JSON. You can see, then, oh, sorry, output, name, Jyoti Coach, MSc, email, test@gmail.com. So the individual values, outputs, we can use it. And then create CSV table. Okay, what? Okay, so we have created all, okay, let me use it somewhere so that I can see it properly. So what I have selected, all the values, course records, and columns, I have set it as automatic, so all the values are coming up. Instead of that one, I'll just go with custom and name. The same values what I have used in the HTML table. Okay, these are enough for me now. And then where I can use this one. Um, okay, let's suppose see from here only. I don't think I can, like the email one, I'll not be able to show it because it's not working in the trial instance. So there is no way I can show you this with example, but from here in the output, we can check that one. Okay, create CSV table, oh, output. Here you can see just the comma separated value name created on LUIT, this. But the difference for this create HTML table and CSV table is here, I think this will be like when we use the output of this create CSV table, I think file will get added. Yes, like in the HTML table, it's like a table format you'll get in the output of, I mean, in the email body, like this way only. This way only you'll get in the email body. But when it comes to the CSV table, a CSV file will get attached to your email. Okay, and it will not come this way in the email body, rather, CSV file will get added to your email. Okay. So these are all the 7 data operations that we have. So based on the requirements, the procedure is same for all of them. It's just whatever the inputs or the outputs you'll be fetching out of these operations are different. Okay, but this is the way how we use these operations in a HTML table. Are we clear here? Any questions or doubts? Okay, if not, then we can just go to the next topic, that is environment variables. Okay, so here in some scenarios, what we are doing while filtering the array. Okay, I'll go to the edit mode. We are done with all the data operations, right? Let me just check it one more time. Compose, CSV, HTML filter, array, join, parses, and select. Okay, we are done here. Okay, so here in some scenarios, whenever we want to compare or check some conditions, we are directly providing the values, hard coded values here. Name is equals to MSC. So, for example, in my organization, uh, this name, whatever the condition I'm having here, this keep on changing. So it's not always a developer job to come here. So based on the business requirement, I'll come here and change it. It shouldn't be that this way, right? So what I'll do, I'll just create one. I mean, this might not be the single place where I'm just using this hard coded value. Maybe somewhere else also, I'm just using the same condition. So they are also maybe using the MSc only, but later on the course name got changed to something else. MSc Life Sciences or something like that. They have changed the course name. So at that time, wherever we have the dependency, it's hard to locate and it's hard to change in all the places. Okay, so in that cases, what we can do, we can just create one variable, and in that variable we store this value, and we use it that variable wherever we want. So whenever this is getting changed, then I can just change this value in the variable itself. No need to come here and change it. Okay, each component we don't have to change it. Okay, so I'll show you how we will be creating a environment variable. Let me see if I have any solution here. I think Harish might have already discussed about the solutions, so I'm not explaining here. If not, let me know so I can explain. Okay, now I'm creating the environment variable. So from here you can see new and more. From here you can see environment variable. And here you have an option of different data types. What type of variable you want to store in this. Okay. Decimal number, JSON text, yes or no, data source or secret. Okay, anything you can use. For example, maybe client ID and client secret we might use for some HTTP connectors, right? So in that case, what I'll do instead of so for the HTTP connectors, maybe for the authorization, we provide the client ID and the client secret. Okay, that might not be like okay in all the times. Like it's not okay to provide those values directly in the flow itself, so that all the developers might see it. So instead of that, what I'll do, I'll just create one variable, and inside it, I'll just provide the secret and just provide the value here. Secret store, Azure Key Vault, and what is the default value. So that way, I'll just provide I'll just store my client ID and secret here. Okay, so in our cases, what we are like any value, it can be any value, whether if you don't want to use the hard coded values, then that in that scenario we can use. And if you just don't want to reveal the client ID secret, or if you just don't want to provide the ID secret all the times, then also you can just go with this variable. It's like a placeholder. Okay, so for now, what I'm doing, I'm just using the text and I'm saying what it is storing, course name. So it's always better to uh provide the like logical name. For which entity you are using. So it's always better to give that name. So in future, it's always easy to locate like for which reason I have created this one. Okay. So the description also useful to identify it. So whenever you might not be there in the team, maybe when this change is coming. So at that time, if somebody else is coming and checking what reason their variable got created, then I can just see the name and description. So by these two, I can just understand, yeah, this got created for this scenario. Okay, that way. So this name and description always better to provide the correctly based on the requirement. So this I'm using to store the course name. Okay, I'm providing the default value MSc. Okay, so here default value and current value we have two. So why we have default value, current value means, for example, I'm here. So here what I'm doing, every developer what will do in developer instance, we will develop all the our we'll implement all the development work and then we'll move the components through solutions. So when we do that, the default value will get moved, but we have an option to choose the current value also. Because not only this, I'm not only talking about the text, but in some scenarios where I'm taking the text only. So where I'll be storing the GUID value of some record. Okay, I'm just wanted to check if course ID is this or something like that. The GUID value might change across the instances. So at that time, whatever is present in the div might not be work in the other instance wherever I'm deploying my changes. At that time, default value will be it will be as it is, and while deploying the changes, it will ask you whether the value is this or not. Then in the current value, you can provide that other instance GUID value. Other instance, what is that records GUID value? If it is different, you can change it. Otherwise, you don't have to change it. Okay, so if you provide the current value, this MSc, whatever the default we have provided, that will no longer work for this variable. Okay, that is the reason we have default and current value. Okay, so I have created this course name and I have set the default value as MSc and I'll just save it. And this value I'm going to use in my flow instead of just using this hard-coded value. So for that one, I'll have to just refresh this one. Okay. Filter array, right? Yes, here. Nearly I did have course name. Okay. Yeah, I think it will take some time. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll go to the next topic and after some time we can check this out. Please remember me if I forgot about this one. Okay. So the next topic is parent and child flows. So the first, why we won't even go for the parent and child flows, that we'll see. So the name itself is saying, so from the parent flow, we will call another flow that is child flow. And so whenever we have a scenario I think day before yesterday, somebody asked about what happens like if we want to reuse it, then can we use the same flow? So for that, this is the answer. We can use it, but whatever the reusable steps or the actions we have, that will be in one flow, that is child flow, and that child flow will get called from the parent flow. Okay, so this reusable steps is in child flow. So wherever you want, might be parent. flow might have a different steps, but whatever the child flow will have, that will, I mean, this reusable means I can, I mean, in multiple scenarios, the same steps are being performed. So instead of just adding the all the steps again and again in all the flows, I'll go with this child flow and parent flow concept. Okay, so what are all the things we have to remember for the parent and child flow? Okay, the first thing, the parent and child flow both should be in a same solution. Okay, it's not like you can create one in parent in one solution and child in another solution, but both to be in a same solution, then only it will work. Okay, I'll just create one. It's that was yesterday child solution. Okay. In the same solution, I should create a both the flows. And now, first I'll create a one flow. So first I'll be creating my child flow. Just a second. Okay. Manually trigger flows. The trigger should be this. And create it. And renaming it as child flow. And then in the next is first, I'll have to do something here. I'm just selecting number. And in here, what I'll do, respond to Power App. Because I want to like this is the child flow. So I'm having some steps, and after performing the steps, I might be giving some output. I mean, this flow might be giving some output. So I just have to take that to the parent flow. Okay, so that is the reason. So here first is this the trigger should manually trigger flow, and then the second action will be a respond to a power app. Thing we will have like this. Uh, Power apps and in action respond to a power app or flow. Okay. Here add an output because you want to send this output to where the power app means to any like canvas app or anywhere you can send this output or to the flow, power automate flow. Okay, here I'm saying number only. Whatever title you want to give, like child output. Here you can see the environment variables came now. Okay. Let's suppose say here whatever the number I have provided, what we can pass from here. I'll just whatever the number we are providing here, that only I'm passing here, okay? Because we don't have any like I'm not seeing any other scenarios right now, so I'm just using this only. Just become of notes, trigger body, and then And this will work. Okay, so this is enough for my child flow. But in real time scenarios, you can just add plenty of like number of steps in between, and you can just pass whatever the output finally you want to send in this the type. Okay, and then I'm going to create the parent flow, manually trigger flow. Yeah, and here add an input, and that is number. And then the next step, what I should do, maybe here in the parent flow also, you can provide number of steps before calling the child flow. If you want to perform any actions, you can just provide those actions. And after that, you can call your child flow. I think it will be child flow. No, and run a child flow. Yes. So here I'm selecting my child flow, and you can see not all the flows are coming up here. Only what I have created as a child flow. For example, there we have mentioned in the last step, respond to your power up. So which is nothing but that is a child flow. So wherever we mention the last, the step is the respond to a power app or flow, that will be coming up here. So I just created one that is child flow, and I'm just calling it. Okay, that's all. Like, and here the number will be from the output of this flow. You can see manually trigger a flow and then number. Save it. I think I'll have to provide the number there, but let me see. Enter number. It's asking for the number. And whatever I provide, that only it will get. Run flow. Done. Now parent flow is running and it is successful. This is the output from the child flow, and that is giving the output here. Child output 6, because this is the output that I have mentioned in the child flow. Okay. So here I'm just adding the first and last steps, but in between, whatever the operations you want to perform with the actions, you can just provide all of them in the both in parent and child flows also. Okay, I just added like how we will be creating them. Okay, any questions here or any doubts on this parent and child flow? And the first thing you have to remember is this should be both parent and child flow should be in same solution. Then only it will work. Okay. And child flow will be creating with the respond to a power app or a flow with that action. And in the parent flow, we'll be using run child flow action. Okay, these are the things that you have to remember for the parent and child flow. Okay, this is all about this one. And then environment variables, right, that we are discussing about. Not in this solution. So here we are checking. And while filtering array, maybe here that is not applicable, whatever the text that is giving. But here I can see it. Maybe the data type is not matching there. That is the reason it's not picking up there. But here you can see how the environment variables are coming. So wherever I have the requirement to just add it, let me just suppose initialize a variable here. And here you can see the whatever the environment variables present in the system in this instance will come up here. You just have to select based on your requirement. For example, this is the environment variables that I have created as per my requirement. So I'll be just selecting this one. So we don't know what is there in this one. So whenever we want to just to store kind of client ID and secret, so in that case, so this is best. And whenever you want to store some value which is keep on changing, so in that case also this is good one, environment variable. And as already mentioned, the default value and current value both will be having. So based on the instances value, for example, if this course name is different across the instances, then you have to change the current value in the environment variable while deploying this environment variable component from one instance to another instance. Okay, so this is about the environment variables. And then next topic is the last one today. So there are actually two. We have export and import. So how will be exporting the Power Automate through solution, and how we'll be importing in the another instance. And there is one more topic that is about the licensing. So I'm not so sure about that part. So maybe when Harish will be taking another session, at that time I'll ask him to cover that one. I'm not completely sure about that one. So the licensing part I have never touched. So I mean, Harish will be covering that part with uh, in the next session. Okay, now I'll show you how we will be export and import this solution so that the flows will get installed in another instance. Okay, first what I'll do. So whatever, for example, right now we have created multiple flows in this instance and I want all of them to be installed in another instance. At that time, what I'll do, first I'll create a solution. For example, I have created this one and I'll add all the components here. So here I have already added two and then I'm going to add the existing flows, whatever is available. So data was okay. These are all the ones that I have created yesterday. So I'm just taking them. So why? Okay. Okay. You can see while adding the cloud flows, the connection references also got added here. The connection reference is nothing but while we create the flow, like, oh, sorry. While we create the flow while we create the flow at that time whenever we are using some kind of connector, for example here in the recurrence or somewhere test automated flow, somewhere we have used dataverse connector. At that time it will be required to provide the connection. So whatever the logged in credentials we have with that I mean, to with which credentials we are running this one. So that kind of thing. Here you can see connection reference LD for admin because I have logged in with that one. So here the connection reference is that one. Okay, this got created for this logged in credentials. Okay, whenever you create use any connectors in the flow, then the connection reference will obviously there for that particular connector. And the next thing I have not covered is scope. I have completely forgot about this one. This filter rows and select columns I have already mentioned, right? Whenever the change type is modified at that time, select columns are required so that in that scenario, like for example, in the courses, if I'm modifying name, then only trigger this flow. So there the columns are useful. And here the scope is scope organization only coming because I think whoever created this course entity, let me show you that one. whoever created this course entity, they might have created as a org-owned entity. That is the reason their scope is coming only as an organization. Let me show you that first. Customization part is already done, right, for you? Okay, here you can see ownership is organization. So if it is, I think user or team, another option will be user or team. I think user or team only. At that time, we will be having a different options, both in security as well as the scope as well. User or team only. Yeah. So entity will be two types. One is user or team owned, and another one is organization owned. Right. In security part, I think Harish might have already covered this one. So if you want to provide the security roles at that time, privileges will be there, right? So in the privileges, if it is organization, whether you provide access completely to the course, here the course got created with the organization owned, so I'm explaining this only. So here what will happen if I want to provide access to somebody on this course records, then what option I have? Either provide entire access, means they can do everything with course, otherwise don't give at all. So only two options will be there for organization owned entities, either full access or none. But when it comes to the user or team, contact will also be a user or team only. So when it comes to the user or team owned entities, they'll be having I think of 4 levels of privileges. That is like user BU level, parent BU level, and then org level, and then either none. So which means if I'm mentioning the ownership as user or team, then whatever the contacts present in the system, I can provide the privileges. Like if I provide a user, then whatever the contacts that are belongs to me, those only will be available to me in the system to make any changes. Okay, if it is BU, then whatever my BU range. For example, I'm part of one business unit, and in that business unit, me and Harish was there. So whatever the contacts records created by Harish and me, I can see both of them. And parent BU, I think I'm going into the completely different topic, but let me just quickly explain this one so that it is helpful here. Okay, next is parent BU. Like, if I'm having the parent BU level privilege, then whatever the BU I'm part of, um, sorry, parent BU means, whatever the BU I'm part of, and under my BU, there might be some different child BUs as well. So in that child BUs, if any contact records are there, that also I can see and make changes to that based on the privileges. And then organization is like you can do everything with that records, and then none is same. Okay, so these are the privileges based on the ownership of an entity. So here you can see only organization is coming. Let me change this to something else. Accounts. No. Here you can see user, parent child view, organization, business unit. So whoever is triggering this flow, then if I'm setting the scope as this organization, sorry, business unit, then if I am invoking this flow, meaning what is the starting point of this trigger, like added or modified. So if I'm creating an account, no, this is not only modified, I'll tell you. In that case, you can understand. So here modified I took. So if it is a modified, and if I'm modifying the account which is in my business unit, then only this flow will get triggered. I hope you understand, right? So whatever the account I'm modifying should be part of my BU, then only this flow will get triggered, otherwise it will not. Same with remaining. If I'm saying user, then whatever the accounts I own, only those accounts I can, I mean, when I modify those accounts, then only this flow will get triggered. Okay. Same with parent-child BU. Okay, parent-child BU is nothing but my BU, and also under my BU, if I have any child business unit accounts, and for those accounts also, if I modify, then this trigger will, this flow will get triggered. Okay, I hope I have covered everything. This is the use of scope. Mostly it will be organization only, but in some scenarios only we will use other values. And you see how we are getting this one. If it is a user or team owned, then only we are getting these many options. If it is just organization owned, then we are having organization scope only. Okay, that is the use of this one. I think I have covered everything here. And the next part we are discussing about this, where solution. Here only, no? Here only. So what we are talking about next thing is export and import. So here, these are all the flows that I want to use in another instance. For example, here I have completed the implementation of my logic. I have developed everything, and I want to give it to a tester to test it in test instance. At that time, what I'll do, I'll just add my components, whatever the components I have, and I'll add it to the solution, and then we'll export this solution. First, from this instance, parent-child solution selected, and export it. Next. Okay, it's saying this table is required, but if this table is not available in the other instance, it's always better to add this as well. And I'm thinking this is not available in any other instance, so I'm just adding this as well. Enrollment is also required, okay. Yeah, it's good. Okay. If you just don't provide the dependencies, for example, if my both the environment having the same kind of entities, then you can simply ignore this step. Otherwise, you'll have to add the dependencies, otherwise you'll not be able to um deploy the solution into another instance. Okay, you can export as both managed and unmanaged. I think you already know why when we use managed and unmanaged, right? So if our solution is pakka, like completely ready for the testing or to use in end users, then we will be exporting our solution as managed. Otherwise, if you are going to make some changes in next another instance, maybe some pre-dev something kind of thing, then you can just export the solution as unmanaged. For example, here I don't have test, so this I'm going to import in another instance which is created by some other person, like maybe somebody trying something here, right, with enrollment or EMP. So these are like normal development kind of environments only. So I'm just exporting this as unmanaged so that anybody is working on this on that instance can make changes into my flows again. Okay, if it is managed, then no changes will be entertained in this components. Directly end users will be because directly end users will be I mean seeing the changes whatever we have done. So managed should always be useful whenever we are ready with this. Otherwise, if you want to still develop it, then we will go with the unmanaged. So I'm just exporting it. So once this got exported, you'll have to download the zip file and then you'll have to import it in another instance. I'll show you that is. Let it export. And meanwhile, while it get exported. If you have any questions, anybody have any questions until now, because we are done with the Power Automate session, and except these licenses, we are done with everything, I hope. Okay, this part will be covered by Harish, and let me know whatever we have discussed until now in these three sessions. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay, I have downloaded it, and I'll change my environment here to maybe this one practice. And here there is one, I'm importing this solution into your environment. So these flows are now available in your environment as well. I'm sorry, where it got downloaded. Let's see. Hey. Okay, I've selected that zip file, and next. Okay, okay, then import it. So now after importing, whatever the flows that I have created in LUIT dev instance is present in this practice environment as well. Taking time. Next. Oh, it's taking so much time. I should have added less flows. It's taking so much time. Is everybody have access to this Rizwan practice environment? Oh, no worries. It got imported. Okay, you can see this here. The flows. Okay, you can see all of them and modified 30 seconds ago because just now it got imported from LUIT dev to Rizwan practice. So this way we can move the flows from one instance to another instance using solution. Okay, so this is all about the Power Automate flows. I hope you learned something here. And we'll ask Harish to just provide any assignments on this Power method. And if any topic is left, if I missed anything, please let us know so that Harish or me can cover it. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Um, Rizwan, I just have a question. Until now, is my screen is visible to
Yes,
everyone?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm not seeing that great, so I thought maybe it's not. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.